This is a story that could be about anyone we know. It's about a man who recovered from bypass surgery only to be stricken again with even more severe problems years later.
Certain things you never forget in your life, and this would be one of them. And he said, "Your brother is gravely ill."
We have an emergency on our hand with a patient that is going to have a heart attack.
I was out golfing one day, and I came back from the golf, and then I had to cut the grass. So I started cutting my grass on my yard, and then I felt this uneasy feeling in my chest. And I backed off, and then all of a sudden I said, "Hey, something's wrong here." I couldn't, I just sort of felt the heaviness on my chest a little bit. And then after that I said, well, I better hurry up and cut the grass and get in the house and take a shower and go down to the doctor's office. And that's what I did.
Mr. Fonzo is a 67-year-old male who had history of coronary artery disease. He had a previous coronary artery bypass grafting ×2 in 1991. Apparently he did well for many years, and then he presented with chest pain again in 2007, and he presented to Riverside Community Hospital.
And they said, you could be having a heart attack.
The patient was taken to the cardiac cath lab. He was found to have 3 blocked arteries. And the cardiologist at that point decided to try to open one of the arteries with percutaneous technique. And that's a very common technique. And unfortunately, in this case, that didn't work and actually complicated matters by rupture of the artery. On my evaluation of the patient, I found that the patient had another very serious condition that was complicating his care. He had ascending aortic aneurysm, and which absolutely requires surgery. And so now we have a patient who not only has coronary disease, he also has previous surgery, he has ascending aortic aneurysm, and on top of that he received multiple blood thinners, which is part and parcel of the procedure that cardiologists do.
He went on to explain that if he doesn't have this surgery today, he will have a heart attack because of the ruptured artery in his heart. So I asked him, what are the dangers in this surgery? And he responded that the fact that he had all the blood thinners doing the angiogram, he would be a bleeder. And he said, we'll probably start around 4 or 5, come back at 8, 9 o'clock at night, and it should take 6 hours, maybe 8 hours.
As a result of multiple blood thinners that patient was given preoperatively, we had something called coagulopathy. Coagulopathy in general means that we don't clot.
The procedure went well. He said it was done around midnight. But then he said he bled, and he bled, and he bled.
Doing the operation took I think about 5 hours, and it took about 6 hours to stop the bleeding. So it took as long, if not longer, to stop bleeding. And during that process, during that time, we constantly were replacing and giving him blood and blood components, hoping that eventually the coagulopathy will stop.
And that's when I said, well, I used to work at the blood bank and in administration, not in the medical part, but I was familiar with donating and the whole process, so to speak. And I said, well, how much blood did he use, Doc?
Pat received blood components from 34 livestream donors in the form of packed cells, platelets, plasma, and cryoprecipitate.
I had no idea that they'd be using that kind of amount of blood. It never entered my mind.
About 2/3 of our patients do not require any blood transfusions. These numbers are extraordinary.
Pat recovered for the next 45 days in the intensive care unit.
We knew it would be a recovery and there would be some time there, but about the 3rd day is when the problems really started.
He had pulmonary complications, he had kidney complications, he went to renal failure and required dialysis. And so on multiple levels, he went through a lot.
It was tough. There was a couple, 3 weeks there when it was touch and go.
When I was in this coma state, I had a lot of dreams. And when I was dreaming, I had a lot of horrible dreams. And I asked the Lord to take me. I said, God, take me. I said, I'm tired of suffering like this here.
I definitely thought that I didn't think he'd make it. My brother and I have a great relationship. We always have had. My brother is kind of my hero. I said, please, God, just give us a little more time with this this person. He's a kind, gentle, good man. Finally, one day, he kind of opened his eyes. For 16 years, I was fortunate enough to be around people that do terrific work. You see the donors at the donor dinner and on the donor wall, and you recognize people donating, the same people over and over again. You don't expect that it's going to be that personal, though. You don't expect that your wife, your husband, your child, your brother is going to need it, but it's somebody's relative, somebody's loved one.
We as human beings do not have any substitute. So if we are going to save lives, part of it is having available the blood and blood products, and that's what we can do as human beings, helping each other. Giving that blood, giving life, is truly giving life. Giving that blood, giving life, and helping people that will need. And any one of us can be in that situation.
There aren't too many better ways to give something than to give your own blood that is going to help somebody, whether they're a cancer patient, trauma patient, or whatever.
We can do pretty amazing things technically in terms of surgery, but Mr. Fonzo would not have survived if not for all the blood products that we were able to get in timely manner to support him.
I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all the units of blood I did get. So I got to thank everybody out there, wherever. My life is devoted to helping other people if I can do it, and because I've been helped. And like I said, I've been helped by prayers, by the blood bank, and by the doctors. I'm here.
Time is precious, relationships are precious, and to be around people that are important to you is irreplaceable.
I don't take anything for granted. I said, I'm lucky to be here, I'm fortunate to be here, and it's a privilege to be here.
We were given that chance to spend more time with them, and we're very grateful.
Because of the generosity of LifeStream blood donors, Pat Fonzo's situation is one of many successes that occur in our hospitals on any given day. We extend our thanks to the many dedicated donors who give the gift of life. LifeStream. We help save lives by connecting donors and patients through the gift of blood.